Good afternoon, everybody. Today's date is the 27th of October, and the time is it's around 10 to 3, I think. So, welcome to the Astro weather for this week. And we start this week with what we finished last week on, really. I mean, it's just a slight move on from that. So from the moon opposing Uranus to the sun now opposing Uranus. And looking at the themes around the new moon and what else is coming up this week. For me, it is all about relationships because it's one of the lead planets of this is Venus, and also the fact that Scorpio's ruler Mars is in Libra, which is also ruled by Venus, so and not in its best place. It doesn't particularly like being there. So that's what we've got. So when we think of this Sun opposition to Uranus, I think it's about breaking free from the past. Uranus likes to shake things up, as we said before, and in these two very fixed signs where change is very difficult, it's those unexpected comments, remarks, people, places that will set the ball rolling to where you need to be next. And as I said, it's about the connections we make, but it's about maybe the newer connections that we need. And we need different people and we need different situations in order to find that galvanising spirit to push us forward that Uranus requires. So what I would be asking you to think about today as the Sun opposes Uranus is, where have things become tired for you? Where do you feel that there is no longer the spark, the wherewithal, the determination, the enthusiasm in your life? Are you just doing the same things over and over again because they're easy? Are you with the same people because it's easy? Are you doing the same work that you've always done because it's easy? And if the answer to that is yes, then Uranus could be paying you a visit and throwing you some curveballs and strange things in there to shake you up and say, you know, come on, look at what we've got here. Where's the enthusiasm for it? Let's strike out into something different and something new, a paradigm shift, a change in what we do day in, day out. I'm not saying ditch everybody in your life or just give up your job today. It's not about that, but it is about going back to why do you do things? Why have you got into these habits and routines, to say, which fixed signs love to do? And is it just because of the sake of it, and that they should have been changed a long time ago? You know, it's these people who go to the same place on holiday every year. It's like, it's a Wednesday, we must be having fish for tea. It's those habits that we get into that we don't even know why and when they started. It's just they're there. And, you know, hey, not a change for change's sake, but definitely look at where you can shake things up a bit in your life. Which areas of your life are you feeling that pull towards the new, they're wanting something different, to changing things up a little bit? As I said to you last week, my fourth house is highlighted with Uranus, and it's been about saying that I've been doing more of it this week, changing things around, changing how they look, looking at what works and what doesn't work, throwing things away that maybe just tired and no longer have a purpose. So that's been quite a fun one for me to do, really. If it was more of a a serious thing, like for example, it could have highlighted for me, because obviously I've got Moon Scorpio in the 10th, that it might be something in my career that I'm not happy with. I mean, I very much love my job. I love what I do. And, there is lots of change of variety in there, enough to be able to keep my creative Gemini brain happy and contented. So I know that the pull of those things isn't particular for me. But when I was writing my notes about this and about the connections with people and relationships, maybe there's some work to be done there. About reconnecting with people in a different way, and say not necessarily getting rid of anybody who's important in my life, but maybe look at the way we converse and about what, and have we done those deep and meaningful things that Scorpio requires us to do. I mean, just this week I had a lovely, very Scorpionic conversation with someone in my life, and it brought a great joy to my soul. And it was, it was nothing bad or secrets that were deeply hidden away. It was just about a very honest conversation about how we both felt and what was happening in our lives and those kinds of things. And it felt good to do that, to sort of go a little deeper into things rather than just going for the sort of mundane, small talky kind of things that we do tend to focus on. So yeah, I'm certainly going to be looking at where I can have a bit more depth with the people who I connect with, or maybe looking for people who I can connect with on a deeper level. And my Scorpio moon likes that anyway. It likes connecting with people on a deep level. And I feel very much at home within that environment. The other sort of thing, particularly at this time of year as well, is that connection to the seasons and to the divine. And as the clocks went back for us today, there's definitely that feel of the winter is upon us and everything's doing its beautiful decaying, with its gorgeous colours and the fruits, and everything is slowly beginning to compost back into the ground, ready to be reawoken in the springtime. And again, I was thinking about this as I was out walking today. I think with anybody who has planets in Scorpio, you have that awareness that there is dark in all things, but that dark isn't necessarily a horrible thing. It can be a very beautiful thing, and I think in the autumn we definitely see that. With say as the leaves turn their beautiful colours of red and orange, and they then get mulched into the ground, and say providing the food and the nourishment for everything to come back again the following year. And I think it is a really beautiful thing to watch. Even if you sort of looked at it from the point of view of, well, everything's decaying, everything's dying. Well, yes, it is, but there is a beauty in that death. And that's what Scorpio is all about. It's the beauty in the dark, the dark things, the dark recesses of the world. So when you're thinking about your connections, think about not only those ones that are on the sort of mundane, the day to day. Think about your connection to the planet itself. Think, if you've got you're a person who thinks more spiritually, thinking about the connection between human and divine, and how that shapes our reality. And they say very much looking at the dark as well as the light, and shining lights into the into some of the more unpleasant or decaying aspects of our personality, our lives, so that we can then transform them through this Uranian energy that is now upon us. And like I said, the little dance that's going on between Venus and Mercury that's been going on quite a lot over the last few months as they've been chasing each other around. This week they are coming together again as Mercury slows down to its halt on the 31st, and Venus is speeding past it as it goes towards Sagittarius, where it goes into on the 1st of November. They are once more connecting with each other, and asking us, say, to look at our relationships, look at the Mercury connections in our relationships, how are we communicating, and, thinking about that, because we will be going inside of ourselves in terms of our thought processes as Mercury does go backwards, up until the beginning of, let's say, well, it's 3 weeks, and then you've got the shadow period as well. And so it will be in Scorpio till the beginning of December, where it will then change over into Sagittarius. So yes, a lot to sort of dwell upon, really. And so this is very much Scorpio's territory, say, of dwelling and intensifying and looking deep within ourselves. So say Mercury's slowing down to its stop this week, so don't expect any breakthroughs in the next few weeks. If you do have breakthroughs, there will be internal ones that you can then make manifest once Mercury goes forward. And, people who aren't even into astrology talk about the Mercury retrograde period now, and, know the fact that it can cause disruption into our lives. And I think the secret of a successful Mercury retrograde is being prepared for it. And, it's not about not travelling or not communicating or not doing any of the usual Mercury things. It's about allowing the time for those things to happen, and, not starting something during this particular time, or, say prior to it in the shadow, or after Mercury has gone forward but still in the shadow period, because you can guarantee that they will get snarled up and it will take a long time to untangle, if you do. Always stay away from buying any electrical goods during a Mercury retrograde, because you'll have nothing but trouble with them. That's a piece of advice that I was given a long time ago, and it does hold true. If things are already started, you might find that they go slower during the retrograde cycle. So if you've been waiting on something to happen, you might have to allow extra time for it to be completed. So be aware of that. If you are travelling, allow extra time for that travel to happen. For me, it's always the beginning and the end of the Mercury retrograde that tend to be the worst. You kind of, it's like with anything, you get used to it when you're in the middle of it. But I always think at the beginning it can kind of catch you a bit unawares, and at the end it can really grind. It's like it's just slow, and it's just, oh, please just get this over with. Can't wait for this to come out of this. So be prepared for a bit of that going on in your lives. And say, in terms of Scorpio matters, it's, say, those kind of psychological depths that we are plumbing to be able to get the most of this, turning our thoughts inside and, say, shining a light into those darker areas that need revolutionising and changing up, so that we can have better relationships in our lives and better connections with other people. And then the last bit I want to mention today, I'm just double checking on my notes here, is the fact that Venus moves into Sagittarius on the 1st. And this means that the two benefics, Venus and Jupiter, will be in the same sign. And Jupiter, obviously, is on its last stint through Sagittarius. And now that Venus is going to be joining it, it could be, sort of the last bit of sunshine before the darkness comes, and to be taken advantage of in the best way you possibly can. once Jupiter switches into Saturn, things are going to be very, very different. Those opportunities for expansion, those opportunities to think big, to try something new, to be adventurous, to be bold, will not be there in the same way. Capricorn is a completely different animal, literally. It's tenacious, yes, but it is slower and it contracts, it does not expand. Jupiter in Sag is definitely much about expansion. Venus in Sagittarius is about expansion and gregariousness, adventurousness, and doing those lively, big things with a big smile, optimistic and enthusiastic. So even though we will still be in the dark waters of Scorpio, there is certainly some light in there. And as Jupiter's been doing all year, even when we had the really heavy duty stuff in the middle of the year, Jupiter was still able to bring its brightness and being able to sort of shine light into proceedings when things are very heavy and very dark. Um, so um, so yes, Venus will be there for 6 weeks or so. So it is a good chance to make the most of the last of the Jupiter brightness, and pairing it up with that lovely Venus, where again focusing on our relationships with others, looking to expand our horizons and look at things in a bold and a bright way. So that will feed as well nicely into that kind of like the need for Uranus to shake things up as well. It's saying the more you can look out there, look to the future, be daring in what you do and not be stuck in the same old ways that you've always had. That is the way to make the most of the Venus and the Jupiter that are in Sagittarius. Now is the time for boldness. And Jupiter brings those opportunities to try something different, and allows you to be different from what you've been done, what things that you've done previously. So definitely the benefic, doing a benefic thing for us all, bringing that brightness there when say when things can be quite dark and feel quite stuck sometimes. So it certainly will do over the next few weeks with the Mercury retrograde. So all it brings me to say for the chance to wrap up on this is new moon ritual. If you want to do something good to celebrate the new moon, to set your intentions, particularly around the topic of relationships and connecting. Say connections can be between you and another person, but could equally be with you and your environment and with the divine and with the spiritual as well. It's whatever area you feel would benefit from bringing a new, bolder, brighter way of doing things. And you can do this by simple ways, lighting a candle, concentrating your thoughts upon the flame of what you intend to do. You can do it through a meditation, you can go out for a walk and be in nature. It's whatever helps you to focus your mind, because that's what magic is about. It is about the focusing of energy to be able to manifest something. And you don't have to be extravagant in your props and accoutrements to be able to do that. It can be a very simple thing. It is about the mental process of concentrating on what you want to achieve that will create the difference, will create what you're asking for. So this evening, it is here in the UK. It's very late on this evening, but you can start it just before the new moon to set your attention of what you would like to achieve in terms of your connections with others and with the world in general and beyond. light your candle, focus on the flame. It'll be darker earlier today, so set it on a windowsill that you can see, and shine that light into the darkness, which is a very Scorpio thing to do. Illuminate what is there, and do not be afraid of the things that you find there. The whole point about change and revolutionizing things is that we don't have to keep things the same. If things have got lost, if things have got dark, if things are decaying, we can bring about new life, and we can change those things so that they are better serving us in the future. And you could be wanting to say goodbye to some things as you're setting your intention. Just say goodbye and then hello to whatever new thing that you want to bring along. It's about closing things up in order to then transform for the future. I know that I will certainly be doing that. I think I like to do things with scents as well. Letting a smell permeate the house can help set an intention. It depends which scents that you tend to favour, or things that can evoke imagery for you, whether that be a visual thing, about having a picture, or something to anything that you can see. It could be a physical tool that you want to have, or a symbol that you've got that you've written on something that you want to hold. You could write something down and then burn it up. That can be a good way of setting that intention out there into the universe. I quite like that one. I think the physical act of setting something alight and transforming it is quite satisfying. So yes, there are lots of ways in which you can set your intention for this new moon. But yes, go deep, go dark, go into the corners, the cobwebs, those rooms in your mind, in your space that maybe haven't been looked at in a long time. See what's there, what needs transforming, what you need to say goodbye to, in order to be able to progress as a human through this world. So thank you very much for listening to this. Enjoy your new moon, enjoy the Halloween week, and celebrate it however which way you enjoy, whether that be going out and doing the sweets with the kids, or it could be celebrating the dead, looking at spooky movies, whichever way you enjoy spending your time as Halloween. But think about that idea of transformation, and be ready to take on the future, and look at it in a different way once this period has passed. Okay, thanks very much then. Bye bye.